EU go on a wild goose chase banning gender-related words received hateful comments and backlash. The European Commission's plan to ban saying ladies and gentlemen has been branded pure wickedness in an escalating woke row. The comments come after the European Commission performed a dramatic U-turn on plans to scrap the use of gendered terms including ladies and gentlemen and man-made. Instead, the EU suggested replacing the common turns of phrase with less exclusionary versions such as dear colleagues, human-induced and synthetic. The terms were to be discontinued to encourage EU officials to update their language under new guidelines for inclusive communication. Phrases would be avoided that the EU considered stigmatizing to gender, sexual identities, ethnic backgrounds or culture. Helena Dolly, the European Commissioner responsible for equality, said the guidebook clearly needed more work, after the 32-page document was scrapped this week. Journalist and author Christopher Howes dubbed the row pure wickedness in an article condemning the attempt to control language. He said, "This is the real trouble with rewriting languages, especially in a bloc like the EU, where people have died for their nations and languages. Languages have real genders, and they can't be changed by declaring a new gender identity. If European commissioners stuck to French, the natural language of bureaucracy, instead of using English when it suits them, they would have to admit that a car, voiture, is feminine, and if they wanted to talk of a man's car they must use a feminine possessive adjective, sa voiture. And, to speak of a woman's new bag, sac, which is masculine, they use the masculine possessive adjective, son sac." The scrapped guidance asked EU officials to scrap the pronouns Mr., Mrs. and Ms unless they were specifically requested. The default would become MX. Officials should never presume a person's gender or sexual orientation or ask which pronoun a person prefers, according to the document. This is because the question implies that gender identity is a personal preference within the control of an individual. It also called on officials to never use gendered nouns such as workman, policeman or masculine pronouns, he, his, as a default. Mr. Howes lamented in his piece for The Telegraph, "I very much regret that the use of language has been turned into a party political thing. The left think that the right are not people with different opinions, but that they are bad people. Now we're in danger of being deemed bad people for using the word policeman or postman." After the proposed document was scrapped, Ms. Dolly explained, "It is not a mature document and does not meet all Commission quality standards. Concern was raised with regards to some examples provided. I therefore withdraw the guidelines and will work further on this document." The latest development is part of a wider row bubbling within the EU about political correctness. In addition to adjusting gender-specific phrasing, the manual attempted to ban references to Christmas as it was not celebrated by everyone, and to adjust phrasing relating to colonization. The Equality Commissioner's document provoked ridicule amongst right-wing politicians from a number of countries. Italian right-wing MEP Marco Zanni said, "We hope that Brussels invests better their time and above all the money of European citizens, working on the most urgent issues and on real emergencies." In another news, we got to know about the most controversial part of the advice, which is avoid assuming that everyone is Christian. Not everyone celebrates the Christian holidays, and not all Christians celebrate them on the same dates, says the document. It advises staff to avoid sentences such as "Christmas time can be stressful" and instead use "holiday times can be stressful." It also says not to use the phrase Christian names and to use first name or forename instead, as well as not using names that are typically from one religion. It gives the example of using Malika and Julio instead of Maria and John to describe an international couple. The guidelines also recommended avoiding the use of gendered words such as man-made fabrics, which should be replaced with more generic terms such as synthetic fabrics. The guidelines did not go down well. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican's Secretary of State and one of the highest officials inside the Holy See, told Vatican News, "Of course, we know that Europe owes its existence and its identity to numerous contributions, but we certainly can't forget that one of its main contributions, if not the main one, has been Christianity itself. Not